The ability to be sudden with an explosive first step, combined with the sustained tenacity throughout the echo of a whistle, are two of the most important characteristics a defensive tackle can possess. So as we start looking at players available in this year's draft, let's focus on those two traits, and which players from this class stand out in that regard. But first, let's take a quick snapshot of the Chiefs' current situation at defensive tackle. According to snaps played, the Chiefs returned their top 3 defensive tackles from last season after placing the franchise tag on Chris Jones. He joins Derek Nottie and Colin Saunders as key contributors from last year's Super Bowl team to head back to 4-time Super Bowl champion defensive line coach Brendan Daly's room. The two players with the 4th and 5th most snaps played among Chiefs defensive tackles last season, Mike Pennell and Xavier Williams, have both become free agents. If the Chiefs feel the need to add more depth to the defensive tackle room in this draft, here are some guys who stand out with those two key traits we mentioned. When it comes to an explosive first step, Oklahoma's Neville Gallimore fits that mold. At 6'2", 304 pounds, Gallimore has the size of a new age NFL nose tackle, which requires quickness and pass rushing ability from the inside techs. And according to one experienced NFL draft analyst, Gallimore's motor runs hot and he never takes plays off. It's important to note that sometimes when you talk about first step quickness and athleticism, it's not only about a straight line to the quarterback. Check out Gallimore's athleticism and feet on this stunt right here. From the front side B-gap to the backside to knock down the pass. This is not normal for a 300-pound man. He finished last season with 32 quarterback pressures, and he's projected as a day 2 pick. Another player with a great first step and good feet is Auburn's Marlon Davidson. Watch right here how he sets up the offensive lineman with his stutter steps. O-line gets off balance and he disrupts the play. Or even more impressive right here is he's coming off the edge. Watch this bend at the top of his rush. And this is a guy who's 6'3", 300 pounds. He's able to get his hand on the ball. Again, this is not normal stuff. And the foundational trait for any player living in the trenches is tenacity. You gotta have it. Most big plays up front are made on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th efforts. Doesn't always have to be pretty, it's just about getting the job done. And one guy who's got it done and fits that mold, who also happens to be one of the most athletic interior defensive linemen in this draft, is TCU's Ross Blacklock, who's got those good genes as his father, who played college basketball at Texas, is now the head coach of the Harlem Globetrotters. Blacklock showed an impressive first step and a lot of tenacity in TCU's stunt-heavy defense, which was also aided by the fact that Blacklock dropped 25 pounds going into last year. He finished as Pro Football Focus's 7th best run defender in all of the FBS last year. And Blacklock spent all of his time lined up inside, with 98% of his snaps coming from the A and B gaps. Ohio State's Devon Hamilton is another tenacious run-stuffing defensive tackle, but he also managed to rack up 6 sacks last year. The 6'4", 320-pound fifth-year senior is considered a day 2 or day 3 pick, and according to Pro Football Focus, his calling card at the next level will be holding the point of attack. He's done that about as well as any defensive tackle in the country that won't go in the first round over the past couple of seasons. Again, that's according to Pro Football Focus. Now, these are just 4 of the dozen or so interior defensive linemen who will be selected in April's draft. But regardless of whom the Chiefs might select, if anyone, there's a good chance that a quick first step and a tenacious attitude on the field will be 2 of the top characteristics to define that player.